Welcome to Butcher Block Horror Podcast, where we exhume horror movies from the past and cut into what makes them so delectable. I'm Kane.
I am JD.
And I'm Danny DeVito.
Hi, Danny.
Hey, how you doing?
You should shave your body.
You know what? Grow the fuck up.
Okay, Dad.
You don't like my Danny DeVito voice, Kane?
It's not very good, actually.
It's fun to do, though.
You have a terrible impersonation.
Yeah.
That is a subpar Danny DeVito, but I condone.
It's a good, pervert at the park.
It's definitely not a comfortable sound.
No.
But why don't you introduce who you actually are?
Yeah, I'm Joe. I'm not Danny DeVito. I'm sorry I tricked you.
Sorry I tricked you. Right. All right. Today, we're going to be throwing Carnival of Souls onto the slab and carving up our favorite portions to force feed to you, our unwitting victims. If you enjoy the taste of these feasts of fright, then give us a like and subscribe. Be sure to click the bell. Consider taking a look at our website, wegiveYouBrainworms.com. That's where you could link up with us on Patreon so that you can support the show financially.
And give us your funds.
You can also go to our Discord community channel through wegiveYouBrainworms.com.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that in the next month or so, the website's going to see a little bit of an overhaul.
You have a phenomenal imagination.
I've got some ideas for artwork that I would like to use. So
Nice. Will any of the artwork be erotic and or involving JD?
Yes.
Ooh. Does that mean that I will have an opportunity to be erotic?
No.
Because if you're gonna do erotic nudes of JD, classy ones, side profile, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Just side dong?
Yeah. I will pay you any amount of money for a print of that.
Okay.
Any amount of money, huh?
Any amount. Wow. All right. Wow.
Name your price.
Name my price. My goodness. Wow. I'm feeling real special.
Hey, you should. Link up with us through our website. We're always happy to engage, hang out.
Yeah.
You can also talk to JD directly on Instagram.
Oh, you bet your sweet ass you can.
He does not show side dong, but he does post up pretty cool stuff.
How do you know what I
If
show?
you ask him nicely.
Because
he
I'm
might.
attached to the goddamn Instagram, JD. I see what you post.
We're attached to each other.
Maybe it's because no one has asked him to show side dong, King.
I didn't even know side dog was a thing.
No one asks me anything. They just... No one cares.
All right. Well, regardless, JD, why don't you give us a synopsis overview for Carnival of Souls?
You got it, babe. The synopsis...
Fucking...
Main
Hey, would you like to take a
character,
bath?
Mary Henry, unfathomably was the lone survivor of a gruesome car wreck. She attempts to put the trauma of her accident behind her, moving to a new state with a new job as a church organist. But her flesh... Excuse me. That was...
I mean, that's good.
I misread.
That's a synopsis, dude.
No.
Yeah.
Her fresh start grinds to a screeching halt through visions of a haunting, ghoulish man. And Mary begins exploring an abandoned carnival.
Okay. We've
In
got
hopes
that's
of
the synopsis.
vanquishing
No.
her memories
No,
of the
we're good.
tragic past.
No, that's good.
She once knew.
You know, mentioning the ghoul was good.
I like that he just said no and kept going.
Because
All
tonight
right, we're good. No, that's it.
I come from a place of fuck you.
Wait, Joe, play him off. Play him off.
No, I don't like the sound of that. I don't know.
All right. Well, hey, who was the director of this movie, JD?
His name was Herk Harvey.
Old Herk Harvey.
Herk Harvey.
That's right. Herk Harvey here. Also the producer, and he had a partial writing credit,
Yeah.
and was the director of the film as well.
And an actor.
And
He
yes,
did all
in
sorts
fact,
of things.
Herk Harvey was the ghoulish man in Carnival of Souls.
What do we know about Herk?
He was a fucking cool guy. He was born June 3rd, 1924 in Windsor, Colorado. Harvey was known as a film director, producer, writer, and even did some acting, as we mentioned, the ghastly ghoul in Carnival of Souls.
And a real good kisser.
Oh, yeah, he did some smooching. Harvey actually grew up between Waverly, Illinois, and Fort Collins. That's weird. He served in the U.S. Navy during World War II. Hats off to him. Studied chemical engineering for a time, but got away from it quickly as he discovered his passion for theater. Studied at the University of Kansas, majoring in theater, mostly acting at that point. So anyway, Harvey made his directorial debut with an experimental production called Irwin Shaw's Bury the Dead in 1949. In 1952, Harvey joined the staff of Centron as a film director, writer, and producer, a role that would span 3 decades, focused on short, industrial, educational, documentary, and educational films. He was well known in the industry for his professionalism and, working under a budget and in timely fashion. Harvey made friends and worked alongside some famous actors at Centron.
Including Tony Danza.
Yeah, Tony Danza was there. No, actually, he wasn't, but other famous people, I might butcher a few names here. These are like actors and actresses of the time. I'm not familiar with many of them, but if you know who these people are, wave your hands in the motherfucking air like you just don't care.
Nice.
Walter Pagion, Rowan and Martin, Dennis Day, Louis Nye, George Gabriel, Billy Barty, Anita Bryant. I am familiar with Anita Bryant. Eddie Albert, Ed Ames, Jesse White, and Ricardo Montalban from I Love Lucy.
Nice.
Yeah. Harvey is best known for his soul feature film, cult classic, Carnival of Souls.
Which is a pretty tight movie.
It is, yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, shit was tight. And so because he was the director and producer and partial writer, that's all I fucking got.
Right on.
Well then, seeing as that he was the director and the producer, your job's pretty much done. We can move on to Joe.
You can just wash your hands.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I have notes I have to read to the lovely people.
Yeah.
They are pretty lovely, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are.
Your boy Herk Harvey and his friend John Clifford wrote this film. John Clifford was born October 19th in Springfield, Illinois, home of Bart Simpson.
Illinois!
And unfortunately passed March 2nd, 2010, although he had a long run.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. He started out as a joke writer because he wanted to get into writing, and I guess he wasn't very confident, and his belief was like, I can't write anything longer than a joke.
Didn't he write the joke?
That's not me editorializing. That's what he's that's what he's quoted as saying.
Anyway, sorry, I was going to come up with a joke, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, I was kind of giving you some breathing room to say something funny, but it didn't.
Well,
happen.
it wouldn't have been funny.
That's true, actually. There's a lot of evidence that JD's not going to be.
I struggle.
You do your best. That's what matters.
You do.
But yeah,
That's what I'm here for.
He joined the military during the Second World War, and then under the GI Bill went to a school for writers in Hollywood. And he also made his way to Centron Films, a company that made educational and industrial films, where he met your boy Herk Harvey.
Real quick, I gotta ask. So, what's up with the ya boy thing?
I just felt like doing it.
Is that just something new you're trying to?
Yeah, it's
okay.
The kids do it on
the kids
on their
do
YouTube
it.
channels.
They do.
Joe's building.
It's your boy.
Joe is establishing his
Yeah.
street cred tonight.
Yeah,
That's all.
I'm trying to establish rapport with like the 14 to
youngs?
21 crowd. Yeah, the youngs. Yeah, the young folk. Do. Where the fuck? God damn it. Okay, yeah, he wound up at Centron Films. And yeah, he and Herk Harvey co-wrote, or it's kind of blurry, like where their cooperation began and ended. At least in the research that I did, but they wrote Carnival of what the fuck?
Wait, no, Carnival?
Carnival.
Is that the prequel? Does that instead of taking place in Utah, that would take place in Ohio?
Is it spelled with
Yeah.
a backwards K?
Oh, nice.
The Carnival of Souls.
Are you ready?
Pour some popcorn.
They worked on this movie that we're talking about that my mouth can't say.
Well, what is it again?
Carnival of Souls?
No. What's the actual name of the movie?
Carnival.
of
Carnival.
Souls.
Oh,
Yeah.
Carnival of Souls. Oh, the
Carnival of Souls.
1962 B horror movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
That is the subject of this podcast. He wrote no other horror, although he did get credit for the 1998 adaptation of this film. He apparently had a crazy life. He worked as a songwriter with David Lynch collaborator Angelo Badalamenti, writing songs that were sung by
Ooh.
jazz legend Nina Simone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The dude that wrote this movie also wrote songs, yeah,
Need to hear that tonight.
for Nina Simone, which is pretty rad. And apparently, over the course of his life, just to summarize, he was a novelist, a scriptwriter, a journalist, and a teacher.
And a belly dancer.
And a belly dancer, yeah.
How tall was he?
I don't have that information.
I was just curious as to whether or not he was a tiny dancer.
Oh, nice.
I see what you did there.
I don't know that, but I do know about cinematographer Maurice Prather.
Oh, hey, well, why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I hope you'll tell us. I really do.
I feel like you're being condescending right now, JD.
Mm-mm. That's how I talk.
Just have a speech impediment that makes everything I say sound sarcastic.
Oh, there's a Kids in the Hall episode like
That's
that.
such a good bit.
That is such a good bit, isn't it?
Nice. I see what you did there. Yep, Maurice Prather, cinematographer, born September 6, 1926 in Miami, Florida. Sunny Miami.
We won't hold that against him.
Moon's over Miami.
Nice. It's a good omelet.
Mwah, mwah.
Unfortunately passed on January 9th, 2001. By the time that he was in his senior year of high school, Maurice had become interested in photography and had an after-school job as an assistant cameraman and lab technician at the Calvin Company in Kansas City, which was apparently the largest production company for industrial films in the world.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
If you've been dead for exactly 20 years, are you like a super crusty skeleton, or is there still
Yes.
something? Okay, thank you. That's all. Sorry, Joe.
No, you're fine. When I think of industrial films, I think of like the kind of music that Kane listened to in his teens and 20s.
Yeah, see, I think of men of science twisting screwdrivers and
Right.
adjusting them.
I think you're more on point than I am, actually.
Yeah.
I think that's actually what he was doing, was that kind of thing. And he enrolled in the journalism program at the University of Kansas in 1949. Apparently he did not join the military during the Second World War. There was suggestion that he had some kind of medical problem that kept him from military service.
Was it bone spurs?
I don't know. I couldn't find anything.
It was a heart murmur.
Because I know bone spurs was really popular for people during the Vietnam War.
Right. This was not that war.
I know. I'm aware, Joe. I'm just
Different
trying
threat. Different
trying
threat,
to-
Kane.
to,
Different threat.
Different threat, and it's different maladies that prevent people from...
Yeah. Are you done? Can
I'm done. All right,
Okay.
I'm done.
Please
Okay?
resume.
I'm finished.
Okay.
You didn't do
he-
that to JD. I just want to say that.
That's because JD is nicer.
It's a good point. Carry on.
He also made his way to Centron, where he put in nearly 10 years making over 100 educational and industrial films, many of them prize winners. I can only imagine how boring those ceremonies were.
I want to watch a prize-winning educational film now. I just want to know
Yeah.
what is that? Like, where is
Yeah.
the bar?
The winner for the best stamping press film.
It's to Marv Billington.
Marv Billington, please stand up and accept your award.
He also met your boy Herk.
That's for the youngs.
It is. It is weird that these filmmakers, I guess, just met in this very academic, like, we make educational films that you watch on the projector at school when the teacher's out. And they met and they made Carnival of Souls.
Right. These, like, this surrealist, these creatives met in the most sterile, stringent environment you would not think that could possibly incubate such,
Right.
I don't even know, artful.
Yeah. But yeah, they made Carnival of Souls. And then, like, he stayed in, like, various camera-related projects. He did a lot of photography, specifically food photography.
Delicious.
No other horror, or barely even any films aside from the kind of shit
Industrial
that
films.
Centron was putting out.
Right. Then I guess we should talk about the actors.
Yeah, I went on for a long time. That's longer than I usually go with that section.
No,
How
you
do you
did
feel
beautifully.
about that, Joe? Yeah, you did beautifully, but how do you feel about that? Being in the spotlight for as long as you were.
You know, it's fine. I had notes. I presented them. It wasn't like hard to do.
I mean, no, we weren't talking about how well you did. We already know you did well. We were here, right? We were part of this. We heard you did well. But how did it feel going on longer than JD did? Because that's never happened. This is the first episode that's happened.
That is the first time that's happened. I mean, it's, whatever. I do another podcast. It's not like I'm uncomfortable monologuing for a minute.
Look, I was just trying to make this awkward, all right? And it's obviously not working.
It's not working.
I'll have to figure out another way to make this awkward.
Oh, man.
But not tonight. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about the actors.
That was Joe's lonely soliloquy from his moonlit balcony.
Yeah, so about the actors.
Uh-huh.
Candace Hilligross, taking no shit, Mary Henry. She was born in Huron, South Dakota on August 14th, 1935. She studied under Sanford Meisner, who was known for the reality of doing approach to acting. And she studied under Lee Strasberg, who is the father of method acting in America.
Huh.
So that's some shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
She made her professional acting debut in Summerstock in Pennsylvania, but she is best known for her role in Carnival of Souls. She was paid approximately $2,000 for her work in the film.
Damn.
And that's pretty much, she did 2 other films. She did Curse of the Living Corpse and South of Hell Mountain, both of which sound great, but are probably not.
Yeah. Cool names, though.
Yeah. She essentially was like offered 2 separate roles. She was offered 2 separate horror movie roles, and she chose this one because she was going to get paid more. And she was just like, I'm going to take that money and run.
Nice.
Go on, take the money and run.
Next, we got Herk Harvey, made his movie on Less Than a Shoestring. He was the ghoulish guy. He's been covered twice now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go on and on.
You don't want
He just got his buddies to make his movie with him.
cover him a third time. He did some hella corpse paint in this film.
No, that was some weak ass corpse paint.
It was cool though. They
No,
had
I mean,
sunken,
it was good
sunken
makeup.
eyes.
He
Yeah,
looked
I've seen local
scary.
metal bands do better corpse paint.
But yeah, when
than
you say
this movie.
corpse paint, that paints a picture, JD, and he was not corpse painting it. All right. I expect better out of you.
That's true.
I'm going to have to get the pain stick out. Good job.
Oh, no. Not the pain stick again.
Yep. I mean, I think one of you guys mentioned that Herk was actually in the Navy during World War II, right?
That was me.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing else for me to say.
You know, I hate that I didn't mention this before the synopsis, but Carnival of Souls had a budget of $33,000. That is almost nothing.
What was its box office take?
That I didn't catch that part, but just a budget
like
of
edging.
$33,000. Yeah,
Was
sorry.
this movie released to theaters? Like, I'm curious what kind of distribution Carnival of Souls had.
I mean, that's JD's. Did this movie get released to theaters?
That's not something I normally talk about when I talk about film reviews. I do mention the screen time. Carnival of Souls was 80 minutes, and it was released September 26th of 1962.
All right. Well, I mean, one can assume if it was released,
That's
it's not
fair.
like they had fucking VHS players at home in
Right.
1962. So this definitely was in a movie theater.
Yeah, that's
Clearly, yeah.
It might have been one of those low rent ones, like they played like Blowjob Betty and something like that, and then followed it up with Carnival of Souls. But
Yeah, over at Doo-Doo Magoo's, you walk down the street and give them a quarter. Here you go. Have a seat.
Yeah. Okay.
Here's a bucket of popcorn for you and
What's happening?
a pint of cola. You want a pint of cola, kid? Here you go. You look
How about
thirsty.
a great knee high?
Have a knee high. A pint of cola and a bucket of popcorn, kid.
Want some boiled peanuts to go with that?
You got 5 cents?
Briny, so briny.
Give me, how about 10 cents? Give me 10 cents.
Oh, this is going downhill quickly. All right, well, let's move along then. All right. Art Ellison, he was the awkward boner for sure minister.
Ah, good old Art Ellison. He was a son of a bitch.
He was born in Potsdam, New York in 1899.
Damn.
Potsdam. He worked for Kansas City Power and Light for 48 years before
Damn.
becoming an actor.
Yikes.
His only film roles are Carnival of Souls and 2 other non-horror movies. So we'll just go ahead and move along.
This movie was a black hole.
Yeah. Are you all right, JD?
No, wait, you said something about other movies that weren't horror, and I fell asleep. Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh,
so Francis Feist.
You son of a bitch. You got me again.
Francis Feist. You want to take a bath?
She wanted to take a bath real bad.
She was very enthusiastic about bathing with the lead actress.
And I think during the watch party, we bled more into that than was...
I mean, I felt like... and
yeah,
you
those
can...
eyes
Yeah.
were definitely saying you should take another bath. That's what I'm seeing.
There was some energy there, yeah.
Longing bath energy.
Longing Bath Energy is the name of my new shoegaze band.
Nice.
Nice. I like that. I want to hear this band. We've been talking about it for like several months now, and I'm
We're still working on picking a name.
And style of music, apparently.
Yeah.
Sure.
Remember, I was talking about my punk band to be Decent Root.
I thought that was a shoegaze band. You say now it's a punk band.
No,
Okay,
no, that was not a shoegaze band.
Okay.
I've had a lot of ideas recently. All right,
That's
good.
good.
None of them good.
A creative guy.
Hey, you want to take a bath?
You want to take a bath?
How about a bath?
Regardless, Frances Feist played Mrs. Thomas. She was born in Kansas on May 13th, 1903. Her only horror credit is Carnival of Souls.
As the horny bath lady.
Her name was Mrs. Thomas. All right, show some respect.
Don't Google horny bath lady. You won't get Carnival of Souls.
Next up, we got Sidney Berger, the definitely creepy John Linden.
Yeah.
That fucking guy needed a kick right in the sternum.
Yep. He was born in New York on July 25th, the day after my birthday in 1935. His only film credits are Carnival of Souls, 1962, and the 1998 remake. And he played a cop in the 98 remake.
It's fun he got a cameo in the remake. That's
that's pretty cool.
And honestly, no one else matters. I'm just not gonna drudge through the internet for any more of this shit. Like, they worked at places together. They hung out. They didn't do anything else in film, and they definitely didn't do anything else in horror, and I just don't care. Listeners, if you watch this movie and you're like, I want to know more about that person,
right?
Fucking send me a message. I'll look the info up for you.
Like ghoul number 7.
Exactly. Yeah. Send me a message. I'll look it up for you, but you're going to pay me. All right? That's how that's going to work. All right, next we've got the score. Very unique score.
Yeah.
It was. It really was.
Pretty much pipe organ the whole way through, but not like
it was creepy pipe organ. It was
Robert's Blossom. What was that
Robert's
movie?
Blossom. Oh yeah, the old something cross. Deranged.
The old rugged. Yeah, it was Deranged. Yeah, it was not like playing Old Rugged Cross over and over again throughout the whole film.
No.
Like, it changed depending on the scene. And so it was really cool.
Good variation.
There were a couple of moments when it felt like they were distorting it somehow.
Yeah,
it could have been. It could have been.
Yeah.
But the score was done by Gene Moore, and there is nothing about this dude other than he died in 1998. There's zero. There's nothing about where he studied, where he was born, none of that shit, just that he dead and he died in 1998.
Probably because he was just Herk's friend that happened to play some instruments.
That happened to play pipe organ.
Yeah. And he was like, hey, you want to like write some songs for my weird movie? I'll give you like $20, which in 1960 was money.
It was.
And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then he just wrote the songs and then went on to be a fucking car salesman or something.
Right. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about that. There's nothing else on the score.
Yeah.
It was good. I enjoyed it. JD, why don't you tell us about the special effects?
Oh, you know I will. I would say this film, Carnival of Souls, was more about the atmosphere than it really was about special effects. I would say I would consider this movie a surrealist masterpiece, if you will. It was weird and without a lot of anything much to speak of in terms of special effects other than some simple eye makeup and some tattered clothing. it shared a lot of the same type of vibes as silent film to me. Like, do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
no, I agree.
Anyway.
Ah! Ah!
No one was really credited for Carnival of Souls under makeup or special effects. All the info I found in my research just sort of led back to Herk Harvey,
Right.
which, is really just a testament to his mastery of the medium, even though this was his only feature film. He didn't really produce anything else other than that, Centron, that company that he worked for. And, whatever he learned from that experience was just technical, Yeah. So I'm assuming, this is something that existed in his imagination and a little piece of art that he just needed to get out of his head, and use skills that he learned along the way. I don't know what else to say about it, but he was pretty much responsible for the imagery and the visuals and the just the general aesthetic of the film. Fairly stylized. There's one credit, someone named George Korn, and they were credited as a hairstylist.
Okay.
And that was about it. And good thing Kane and I weren't cast for this film, because George Korn would be out of a job.
A lot of hair products going around this movie.
Oh, yeah.
There's some weird product placement, too.
Yeah.
Like very clear Lee overalls.
Sure.
There's
Yeah.
some car
I mean,
parts.
I don't know if that was product placement as much as they didn't have a costume or prop department. So they just had those products.
Those people wearing those clothes.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this, right? So Harvey shot the Carnival of Souls movie in 3 weeks. All right.
Holy shit.
That's quick.
He took 3 weeks off from his job at Centron so that he could direct the film. His initial production budget was $17,000, and that cash budget was raised by Harvey just talking to local businessmen that he knew and seeing if they were willing to invest $500 into the production.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. The other $13,000 was deferred. I don't even know how the fuck you do that.
Yeah.
So while we were watching the movie, we were talking about the guerrilla style of filming that he was doing.
Yeah.
He did actually rent the Saltaire Pavilion for $50.
Okay.
But the scene in the department store and some of the other shots were shot guerrilla style.
Yeah, you could kind of tell.
With Harvey paying locals to allow the crew to quickly film and pretend that she wasn't there.
Nice.
You could tell there were people in the film that didn't know they were going to be in the film. More background, of course, but it was definitely
like the weirdo at the water fountain.
Well, I know that guy was clearly a paid participant, but
And even the way they used ADR, you could kind of tell that they didn't have boom mics that they could drag around,
right?
Or at least environments that were conducive to that kind of audio recording.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the other thing to keep in mind is that Herk had been cutting costs for Centron for production costs for his entire career there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So he used some of that with how he was filming this movie. So there wasn't enough money in the budget to get a process screen to create the rear projection effect, which I don't know if you've seen a lot of movies from the 50s and 60s.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever people in cars, they're not actually driving anywhere. There's a fucking screen that's playing a scene moving along. Well, he didn't have enough money to do that.
Right.
So he used a battery-powered handheld Aeroflex camera to film shots inside moving cars, removing the need for compositing.
Nice.
But that camera was generally used for newsreel footage, but it allowed them to move the camera around in the scenes without need for gear like dollies or cranes.
Herk Harvey was a crafty beaver.
Dude, he was. He did some
was.
dope shit. And on a $33,000 budget.
I wish he had made more movies. I really do. And again, like JD said, I guess he had something he wanted to get out of his system. But I would have liked to have seen the timeline where an actual production company was like, dude, you're kind of a good filmmaker. Let's give you a budget.
Oh, absolutely. And then kind of let him run, you know, just see what else is in that squirrely little coconut of his.
So Herk ended up in a similar situation as George Romero.
Do you mean dead?
Well, obviously he's dead. Shut up, JD. Carnival of Souls was premiered at the Main Street Theater in Lawrence, Kansas on September of 1962. And the U.S. release of Carnival of Souls didn't have copyright on the prints, so they were automatically put in the public domain.
Balls.
In the U.S. Now, the difference between Romero and Herk is that Herk actually there was a copyright card for the foreign distribution. So those prints were actually protected.
And Herk didn't have a Tom Savini to bail him out with a remake.
Right. Well, that sucks.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But it's a great film. And
It is.
It is.
I'm glad that we're at this segment. I apologize for just dumping a bunch of Herk shit. I was just reading stuff about him, and there's just not a lot out there about him. And the stuff that's out there is just about this film.
Sure.
But why don't we go ahead and move along to our personal experiences with the movie?
Yeah.
And we'll start with you, Joe.
I had never seen this movie until tonight when we watched it for this. But
oh,
it
wow.
was good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'd never seen it. It never really got into my orbit. I'm not like, the horror movie fan in the way that you guys are. But it was really cool. And we watched the Criterion Collection release of it. And the Blu-ray print of it was amazing.
God.
It looked so good. And yeah, I was just surprised because I kind of went in, like, I think I even said, like, I'm not sure, like, is this a good movie or not a good movie? And I wound up really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's definitely a good flick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot to say, like, because I think I noticed tangentially in my research that other filmmakers like David Lynch and some others kind of credited this movie as an influence.
Definitely.
So if you're kind of, if you're interested in film history, if you're that kind of nerd, then definitely check this out and try to find the Criterion Collection version.
I mean, I don't give a shit about David Lynch, but this is a great film.
It is.
Fuck David Lynch movies.
Oh my God. I just can't say David Lynch without getting one on a tear.
It just annoys the hell out of me. I hate David Lynch movies so much. All right, JD, why don't you go ahead and talk about your personal experience with the movie?
Yes. Well, I've seen Carnival of Souls quite some time ago, and watching it with you gentlemen was a refresh. I would say that my current impression is much different than my initial impression. I think initially I was pretty stoned, and when you're very high, I feel like watching a film like this, you don't really get from it the things that you gather from a very sober brain. I've had several cups of coffee tonight, and now watching Carnival of Souls, I see it quite differently. But it feels, even with the coffee, the film felt slower. And I think because, some part of me holds this against a bar of maybe 70s and 80s and 90s horror films. I don't even know if I fully consider this a horror film in my mind. For some reason, surrealism keeps popping into my head. There's a lot of elements to this that feel more dreamlike to me, even though, there's a lot of interaction between characters and different things happening that suggest it's happening in reality. I think the end of the film becomes a real mindfuck. That's where it gets kind of trippy for me, where, the main character sort of like ends up dying in a car accident.
Right.
And it sort of takes the whole story round robin from how it kicks off to, this strange journey of her trying to, forget this trauma, and then she ends up reliving it in a subtly different way. And it has like this nightmarish, dreamlike vibe to it. And a lot of the characters, even in their behaviors, whether they were being intentional or not, just the way they acted, even through their inexperience as actors, they had this weirdness. There was this awkwardness and this eerie tension that was consistent throughout the film. And I felt like that in itself made it feel like a dream. So as you're watching it, you're just kind of like, oh, this is like uncomfortable, and a lot of the behaviors and just, I feel like, different actors were like very invading Mary's personal space.
Yeah. Yes.
Like characters just sort of And to me, it really like created, like I said, a tension and anxiety. It was like very much a part of the film, almost like this claustrophobia with oneself, your inner turmoil and how, I don't know, I'm going on a bit beyond, I'm going to go ahead and pass, Kane the relay, and you go ahead and you run the next several meters. I'm tired.
Okay. All right, so my personal experience with the film, I saw this movie a long time ago. I got a gift of a box set of like 42 DVDs. It was ridiculous. All of the movies were public domain. It was like Wasp Woman, The Ape Man, just like a whole bunch of shit.
Oh, that sounds like I'd love it.
You would. And then there was this film, this Carnival of Souls film. And I was like, all right, cool. But it had a whole bunch of cool shit in it. It had Dementia 13, like just a whole bunch of older movies. And some of them weird, some of them good, some of them not so good. But this movie really left a mark on me. I thoroughly enjoyed it from the get-go. So I've watched it multiple times. At least every couple of years I'll watch it. And it's usually one of those things where I'll watch it one night and then a few weeks later I'll watch it again, just because I enjoy the feelings of dread that persist throughout the film for me. I do think that it's definitely slow compared to the other things that we cover on Butcher Block, but I tend to enjoy those movies almost more than like the fast-paced, balls to the wall type movies.
Sure.
Filled with gore, whereas like this movie has virtually no gore in it whatsoever.
There is zero gore.
No gore.
There's no bloodshed at all.
There is negative gore.
I don't know if that's how that works, Jamie.
No.
I don't think you take gore away because of the like excess gore was not removed.
Well, I think like
the gore from other horror
scenes
films.
with like
exactly.
large church organs, like the guts of like a church organ, kind of almost like, and then like collared clergy sort of like helps to suck gore out of a film in a weird way.
Right.
That actually segues. I was actually going to mention this during the cinematographer stuff, and we went off on a journey, and I kind of lost my point. This movie was very sterile in the way that it was filmed. Like it's very clinical. There's not a lot of like fancy pants going on with it, and that makes sense given that it was made by a crew of filmmakers that make like instructional videos for machinery.
Right.
It kind of felt like a movie that was made by the people that made it.
Not to make it sound boring, because it definitely
it's not.
Yeah.
It's a good flick.
The camera work is very functional. It just kind of points at the thing it wants you to look at. Sometimes
and it's
it
in
zooms
focus.
in, sometimes it zooms out. It's always in focus. And it just shows you what the screenwriter wrote.
Well, I really liked the fast zooms.
Yeah.
The unnecessary fast zooms. Because, it wasn't like fast zoom on the scary guy's face or like, it was like fast zooms on
Shelves.
Mundane shit. Like my favorite one of the entire film is she opens up like a sheet music book for organ, and she opens it up and it doesn't even zoom in on the name of a song.
No.
It just zooms in right on the sheet and then it moves on. And I just think that's great.
I can't help but wonder, because there were a couple of weird edits in the movie, if those were coverage for like things that they didn't shoot, or like that they weren't happy with the way that they shot, and they needed to get like lines of dialogue in. So they just kind of had the camera look at something unrelated so that they could kind of get coverage for those moments.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
There was definitely some, is it ADR?
Yeah.
That was definitely happening. And they were not great. The dubs were not great. But overall, it's a great film. I had a good time watching it. It was fun watching it with you guys. It was a completely different experience watching it with you two.
Talking about
and
bats.
I kind of wish, talking about bads, I kind of wish, this is that one time where I look back and I'm like, we should have recorded the movie watch party.
And is this movie out of copyright now that there's a Criterion Collection? Like, could we have legally released that with our commentary dubbed over it, do you think?
We could have gone straight up Mystery Science Theater over it, I think.
Oh, well, it's spilled milk now.
Yeah. No sense crying.
No, it is, it's in public domain.
And it would have been cake to just edit our commentary over top. Oh well, what do you do?
Milk,
Well,
it has been spilled. Let us not cry about it.
We'll watch it together again in 3 years from now, and
Yeah.
See if we're still funny. All right. Well, if you watch Carnival of Souls,
Carnival of Souls.
let us know what you think. You can find us at wegiveyoubbrainworms.com as well as most of the places that podcasts live. Send us a message or comment. Also, we warn you against forgetting to like, follow, and subscribe on YouTube.
That would be bad.
And click the bell.
Bing!
Yeah, it's like right next to the subscribe button.
Yeah, just click it. Just click it.
We shouldn't even have to tell you. Like, if you're gonna subscribe, you might as well click the bell.
Yeah.
Automatic. I was pretty stoned